Hey folks, Todd here. Today we're going to show you how to install the Gator FX series covers on this 2024 Ford F-150. Now, this is a standard installation and similar on most trucks. The tools we'll be using for this installation are a ratchet with a 1/2-inch socket, a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, and a pair of scissors. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to start off applying the bulkhead seal right to the top of the bulkhead. Now, I've already cleaned off the surface here with some isopropyl rubbing alcohol. Now, if you got an over the rail or over the bulkhead bed liner, it goes over top of that. If it's even with the top of the bed caps, you actually don't need to use a bulkhead seal. The seal on the cover will lay flat across that. But since this kind of steps down a little bit from the bed cap, we want to have a bulkhead seal to make that difference to block water from coming in. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of pull this out, peel the adhesive protector back, and we're going to put this all the way up against the bulkhead as far away from the cab as possible before it just kind of falls off into the bed of the truck. So I'm going to line that up and put that in just like so. And once that makes connection, I can go ahead and peel away more of this protector, bring it down a little bit at a time. And once we get to the other side, we're going to go ahead and cut that into place. I like to make sure I cut it in place before I peel off the end of the protector. That way I'm not trying to cut through adhesive that's exposed. Put it all the way up against the other bed cap and then press it down into place. Now let's go ahead and work on our rails. Okay, now here is the rail the way it comes out of the box. Now what I want to point out to you is you've got your prop rod here. Up at the front we've got a drain cup. We've got some packaging material that just kind of comes off. Let me go ahead and address this portion too. So this is your drain cup. You got a spout coming out. Now depending on how your configuration is, you might be popping on your drain tube here. Typically on this particular truck you're going to have a little hole right here. You can kind of cut this down and route that out the hole. If you got a drop-in bed liner, typically you've got a hole in the drop-in bed liner here. You can route that down like so. With this particular truck, we've got the Husky Premium fiber liner. And so what we're gonna do once this is in place and allow the drain tube or the drain spout to go back behind the liner because it's waterproof back there. So before we set the rail, I'm gonna go ahead and put the clamps in place. So these are the clamps the way they come out of the box. So what I'm going to do is disassemble the clamp, set the bolt washer down, then you got the two sides of the clamp. You got one side with the grooves, that goes off to the side, and this side right here has this little pattern here that's going to fit perfectly up inside the rail. So we're going to take the rail, if you turn it sideways, you're going to see we've got a channel inside this rail. So what I'm going to do is take this clamp and place it up inside and then snap it into position. I'm going to go ahead and put the other two clamps in place as well, one towards the center and one towards the rear. All right, then we're going to go ahead and set this in place, let it go all the way up against the bulkhead. And once I've got this in place, I can go ahead and take the back side of the clamp and then put that up behind the bed cap. I also want to make sure I feel back in here and make sure there's nothing that is blocking that clamp hanging down from the inside of the bed cap. Let me move this out of the way. And next I'm going to go ahead and take the bolt and thread it into the clamp. So you got two notches. You want to make sure you're at the top notch. We're going to go ahead and tighten that down. Going to go to 10 foot-pounds. All right, I'm going to set the prop rod back into place. I'm going to go up to the front clamp. I'm going to take my other clamp half, slide it up in there, bolt in, and once we got in that top notch, we can go ahead and tighten down. Again, using the 1/2-inch ratchet and socket. As we're doing this, also make sure that this top flange is down level to the top of the bed cap. If it's up off the bed cap at all, loosen it back down. Make sure it's level to the top. We're going to go ahead and do the same to the rear. Slide this back, missing all obstacles back in here. All right, we're in that top notch again. And again, get it about 10 foot-pounds. Repeat the same process on the opposite side. Okay, so this is how the cover comes out of the box. Now, I want to point out we've got the straps on this side with our slam latches here. If I pull this back, we're going to have our header panel right underneath here. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this out. We've got some tape that's covering up a couple of holes here, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that tape out of the way, set that to the side, and then on the back side we've got more tape that we're going to remove to expose the holes on this side. These holes are for our clip receiver. So the clip receiver is going to be installed right here with the opening facing towards the clip. And before we install that though, we've got our gasket material that needs to go on top of it. Now, you want to make sure it's lined up properly. Go ahead and peel that off. Go ahead and line up to the holes on the bottom side and bear down. And that's going to line up to these holes here. Now, in your kit, you're also going to have a couple of threaded inserts that go to the back side. So they're going to slide in to these holes back here. I'm going to hold these two threaded inserts with this hand while I line everything up on this side. We've got the screws that come out of the kit. We'll line those up as well and take a Phillips head screwdriver. But then we just want to get it nice and snug. We don't need to over tighten them. All right, then we're going to fold this back. Now here we're going to see we've got a little C channel that's attached to the bottom of the cover here. So what that's for is our cover retaining clamps here. So what we're going to do is loosen the star knob up and then push up, and you'll see the square head underneath the bottom of the carriage bolt. That's going to slide in like so. Now what we want to do is take the notch and let it just kind of rest inside that channel, and then go ahead and just get it snug for right now. We'll repeat the same process with the cover retaining clamp and the clip receiver on the opposite side of the header rail. All right, so now what we're going to do is take the cover and set it up on top of the rails, the header portion facing towards the cab. We want to make sure we've got it centered side to side. You'll hear it kind of latch into place whenever it locks into the rails. Also, we want to make sure that the flap here goes over top of our bulkhead seal. All right, and once we've got it centered side to side, now we can go ahead and one panel at a time, we're going to start folding it back towards the bed. All right, now as we fold it back, each panel we want to make sure is centered side to side in the bed of the truck. And any kind of packing material we can go ahead and remove as well. All right, now before I close the tailgate to check the alignment at the back, I'm going to go ahead and lift it up and close the gate. And yes, it does need to move forward a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and push it forward evenly on both sides. Make sure it stays centered. And there we go. Perfect. Now that we've got everything aligned in the bed of the truck, we're going to very carefully fold each panel forward, making sure not to move our alignment, so we can then go and attach the cover with the cover retaining clamps. Right now we are underneath the cover on the driver's side, up right behind the bulkhead. This is our cover retaining clamp, and this is our rail that we just set the cover on top of. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen up the cover retaining clamp, and then this groove right here needs to slide over and go underneath the rail to support the rail from the bottom. Make sure the notch is in the channel, and then we can go ahead and snug that down. Once we get it tightened down on this side, we're going to go ahead and repeat the same process on the opposite side. Okay, now when we pull the cover up towards the cab, we're going to notice where it would make contact to the cab. Now we want to make sure that we protect that cab with some rubber bumpers that are supplied in our kit. Now, before you attach these rubber bumpers, you want to first make sure you wipe down the surface of the frame up here with some isopropyl rubbing alcohol. I've already done that, it's already dried, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and start peeling away some of the vinyl protectant off of the adhesive, and then go ahead and set that in place. Now I'm putting it right up at the top of that frame, and I'm going to bear down for good bond. This is a pressure sensitive adhesive, so you want to make sure you apply a little bit of pressure to get good contact, and then you'll see that it buffers against the cab. Next, I'm going to go ahead and do on this side over here. So we got 3 bumpers. I'll put one right here, and then one on the opposite side as well. Now with this one, I'm just going to make sure that I'm not going over top of my serial number badge. And there we go, we're all protected. Okay, now if you want to drive in this position with the bed partially covered, You want to make sure, first of all, the cover is full all the way forward. It does move back and forth a little bit. Then we can take the clip and pull the strap out of this retaining clip here, go into the clip receiver, cinch down the strap, do the same on the opposite side. And once you've done both sides, you're safe to drive this cover down the highway at highway speeds. Now, if you want full bed access, pull the cable to release the latches on each side and fold it all the way up against the cab. Once it's all the way up against the cab, you can take the prop rod, pop it off of the rail. Do the same on this side, loosen up, put the prop rod in place, and let that capture the prop rod. What that does is that braces the cover up against the cab of the truck, and now you're safe to drive down the highway. When you're done with that, loosen this up. Make sure these are snug and not loose. That way they don't vibrate loose and then drop down into the bed of your truck. Well, it's just that simple, and that concludes the installation.